Hello, I'm so excited that you've joined this study for the summer through 1st and 2nd Peter. So, reading through these books, what would you say to Christians who are trying to live their life really dedicated to God, but all this stuff is coming at them from without, from within? Um, that is the climate that Peter found himself in when the Lord had him write these books. And so he's writing to encourage Christians. He starts out saying to those who reside as aliens, aliens as far as not extraterrestrial Martians, but aliens, like this place isn't their home, heaven's their home. And so how do you encourage people like that? So that's why I'm so excited about this book, because we're going to see some ways that we can be encouraged in the Lord, strengthened in the Lord. So the way this is going to work is you have your workbook, which I know you all have, and it's designed in 5 days a week for 6 weeks. So the best way that you'll get things out of this for this first week is if you really take your time. And for the first week, I have you read chapter 1 of 1 Peter every day. Really do that. All the repetition is on purpose, because as you do that and you read through it again and again, you will see things and you'll think, I just read this yesterday. Did somebody add a line to my Bible? You don't see it all the first time, and it'll grow. So please do the reading that I recommend. Remember, this isn't I'm checking off the box, I'm doing a summer Bible study. This is, I want to know the Lord more. I want to be encouraged in my life. Even though this was written some 2,000 years ago, it is exactly the climate that we find ourselves living in today. And if you take the time to really read the text, because that's what this is about, getting to know the Bible, getting to know the God of the Bible more. And I know you do, and I know you've read, but to slow down and to actually take some time, chapter by chapter, verse by verse. We have 6 weeks with 5 days a week, and there's only 8 chapters combined in the 2 books. So that we're going to take a slow look at these. So the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So say, for instance, this first week, start out going through what I recommend you read, which is chapter 1, and then come back and we'll just look at the first few verses. Actually, for the first day, I believe we're going to look at Peter and what he was like. I love when I read the Bible, I love thinking about the men or the women that God's talking about, the men who wrote the actual books. I love thinking, okay, what was this guy like? And so we're going to look a little bit about the man, Peter, and how he was before the resurrection. Now, he was walking with Jesus for 3.5 years. He saw all kinds of things. And you guys think about this. He still denied that he knew him. But then, after the resurrection, he was like a whole new guy, because he knew that Jesus was dead, and then he saw him risen. Think about what that's like, mind-blowing. Peter became a different person. And it was because of the resurrection of Jesus. So you look at this man, and then God asked him to write 2 books, 1st and 2nd Peter. He had him write down some things. So I look at this man who went from a bold guy. I mean, he was full of faith. He stepped out of the boat and he walked on the water. So he had some boldness. But then when it became critical and there were clubs and soldiers involved, he denied that he knew him. He died. He was crucified because he knew that the resurrection was real and that Jesus was real. So I look at a man like that and I think, wow, why did God ask him to write these words? And if he asked him to write these, I want to really listen to it. Of course, God is the author, but he uses humans and he uses their personalities. That's why we have 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They're 4 totally different men. And God used them to pen the story of Jesus. So we're going to have a slow walkthrough, like I said. We're going to stop and we're going to meditate. And we're just going to spend time. Again, this is not a rush. If you have in your head, like every morning, I'm a morning person, so I am going to talk like you're doing it in the morning, which honestly, even though I am naturally a morning person, I think starting your day with the Lord is really the best thing you can be in, through the middle and the end. But starting your day, there's just something about it. When I have the very rare day where I don't start my day with him, I could be a little not nice person. I personally really need this time with him. So starting your day with him is really good. I wrote a few notes because I want to stick to this. Every week on the first day of the week, you're going to end with a memory verse. So what I would do is take the memory verse, even though it's in your book, and I have a space, write it out, and then say it out loud. And then every day, maybe before you start or sometime, make a sticky note, stick it on your mirror or somewhere, and really try to memorize it. Now, some people, memorizing comes easier than others. So if you have a hard time, don't beat yourself up if you haven't memorized it. But if you really try, at the end of 6 weeks, you're going to have 6 more memory verses in your mind, in your heart, that you can draw on, that God can draw up at just the right time. So that's a really important thing. So I'm excited. I'm excited that you've joined. And again, this isn't a race. So if it takes you longer than 6 weeks, take however long you want. But every Monday you are going to get a video, and this will be the longest one because I'm just explaining how this works. But next Monday you'll get one, and it'll be just going over a little bit about what we're going to cover. But I just want to encourage you. I love God's word so much, and I know you do too, or you wouldn't be taking this summer Bible study, but you are going to fall even more in love with God. So I'm going to pray for you as we close this video out. And Lord, I ask that for each person watching, that you would take 1st and 2nd Peter and you would speak to them, that you would encourage them. I know there's difficult things you're going through, different situations for each of you. And I just pray, God, as they're going through their situation and they read your word, these encouraging words that you had Peter pen so long ago, that they would see themselves in the story. They would see themselves in the trial, and then they would see themselves in the encouragement. And Lord, most of all, that they would know you and that they would be transformed, just like Peter was transformed. As we take 6 weeks and really read through these things, that you yourself, Lord, would transform them, that you would change them into a new person like we all need to be. And Lord, I ask that they would commit their hearts to you for 6 weeks to go through this, and that you'd give them grace just to go through it. So Lord, bless each person, each man, each woman who's going through this summer study. I ask for your blessing, and I thank you for each one. Thank you, guys. See you next week.